What's going on, everybody? Almost Counts Collectibles here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at our Playmates Power Morpher, and we're going to see if we can't make some improvements to this. Now, if you've seen my review video, you already know how I feel about this. I think it's a disaster. A lot of issues with this thing, from the buckle getting in the way of holding it. I don't like the buttons on top. We had a problem with the coins activating their proper sounds. A lot of them don't seem to work. So we're going to see if we can remedy some of those issues. Now, the first thing I want to address is this buckle. Now, shortly after I made my review video, I actually came up here and I took this apart. And fortunately enough, you can actually take this off without having to break it. So I'm going to go ahead and take these 4 screws, well, nope, not that one. So this one here in the corner, this corner one, this corner one, and this corner one off. And I'm going to show you the inside of this and how to take this belt clip off if you would like to do the same thing with your Morpher. All right, now that we have those 4 screws off, we can actually take this cover up and off of here. Now, you kind of have to bring the handle up just a little bit to kind of get it off of there. And then there are wires connected to this, so be careful. All right. Now you can kind of get a look down in here. There's wires connected at the bottom. Right here we have our brackets and stuff. This is for the opening and closing of the Morpher. Back here we have our speaker underneath here. We got our wires, we got our battery compartment over here. But if you look right here at these 2 screws on top, these should come off. This bracket should come off, and we should be able to just take this buckle clip off. All right, so it looks like this might actually be molded on there. So that's not gonna come off. I thought that would probably fall off, but the belt clip will come off and we didn't have to break anything. Now we don't have that in the way back here. I actually, in another video, or I might just buy another one of these just to try, I might take the speaker and electronics out of this Morpher and put it in an original 90s Morpher and see if I can figure out how to activate it just to do certain sounds or whatever the case may be. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, or just at very least transfer all the sounds over and kind of see how we can make that work. But that'll be a completely separate video. Right now, we're just trying to improve this Morpher. So now that we have that belt clip off of there, let's go ahead and put this back together. And we just fixed one of my complaints of this Morpher. All right, so problem number 1 is fixed. That clip is gone, and look, even as an adult, I can now hold this Morpher pretty well, actually. Yeah, I can get my fingers all the way up in there. It is a tiny bit tight with my fingers all the way up here at the top, but I can still hold it if I want, and I can actually do a proper Morpher pose now. So that made that a lot better. Now, the next issue, these coins. One of the main frustrating things, other than not being able to even really hold it, was the fact that the coin function didn't even really seem to work. Now, the problem, I believe, with this is these pegs right here on the back aren't long enough to actually go down and hold the proper buttons down when it's clipped in place. I think there's just a little bit of play, or a little bit, just a little too much space when it's on there being held by these left and right little clips, too much space to keep the proper buttons held all the way down. So how are we going to fix that? Well, we're going to need to make these pegs longer. Now, I don't think they need to be too much longer because these buttons only press down so far. So if you make them too long, you might not even be able to clip the coin on there. So we want to do just a little bit at a time. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're actually going to use some gel super glue. We're going to add some on there, let it dry. That's going to create a little bit of surface space. We'll try that. If it still doesn't work, we'll add a little more. And we'll keep adding some layers of super glue until we get the proper depth. All right, guys, as I was about to grab my glue, I happened to look over and notice my glue gun. And to be honest, I'm actually going to try this first, especially since there's actually holes in these to hold some glue down in there. Once this dries, it should stay in place pretty well. So I'm going to try a glue gun with a glue stick, but the super glue method probably would have worked as well. But let's go ahead and just give a little dab of glue with the glue gun on each one of these pegs and see what happens. All right, the first little bubble caused a little bit of a mess, but this stuff's easy to mess with. It dries pretty quick. All right, this one might be okay for now. This one's raised up a little too far, but this dries pretty quick. So we can go ahead, we'll go ahead and try this out. You can see right here, I put just a little bit on the top. It's kind of sloppy. I'll put a nice little bead on the next ones, but let's go ahead and try this and see if this actually remedies our problem. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Yep, that just happened. This thing's hard to hold. All right, we are on. Let's go ahead and see what happens here.
I'm here and ready. Triceratops.
All right, look at that. It worked first time with just a little bit more space behind each peg. Let's go ahead and take this off. So that's all it took, was just a little bit of glue from the glue gun. Let's do it again.
Kimberly on.
Hold on. I didn't line it up.
I'm here and ready. Triceratops.
All right, it worked again. Let me try it one more time. This time I'll try to line it up better.
I'm here and ready. Triceratops.
All right, guys. It seems to be working every time now with just a little bit of glue from the glue gun on the back of those pegs. Now, once again, that's pretty sloppy. I'm going to do this to all of them. I'm going to give it just a tiny little bead in the middle and let it dry. And that should fix our coin problem. So let's go ahead and do it to all of them real quick. All right, let's go ahead and try all of our coins now that we have a little bead of glue on all of them. So let's try Trini here.
Trini here. Let's do it. Saber-tooth tiger.
All right, Trini worked first time. Let's try Macedon.
Zach here. I'm ready to rock. Mastodon. Kimberly on.
All right.
Zach here. I'm ready to rock. Mastodon. Kimberly on. Let's get these monsters. Pterodactyl.
I did not. Oh, it was stuck. Okay, here we go.
We need dinosaur power now. Tyrannosaurus.
Okay, Tyrannosaurus. Yep, Pterodactyl.
Kimberly on. Let's get these monsters.
I think I put a tiny bit too much on Kimberly.
Kimberly on. Let's get these monsters.
Maybe not. And then once again, let's try Billy here.
I'm here and ready. Triceratops.
All right, all of our coins seem to be working. All I had to do was put a little bit of, I'll clean these up a little bit, a tiny little bead of glue from the glue gun, and it fixed them all. So it's just a matter of the buttons weren't fully being pressed down with the pegs that are on here. Now, the next thing I want to do, these coins are ugly and I hate these tabs. You don't need these tabs to get these coins off. I'll show you. If the coins are on, if you simply put a finger on each side of the coin up here on one side and slightly press in without even touching this tab, it comes right off the clip. And then you can just pull it the rest of the way forward off the other clip. You do not need those ugly tabs to take these coins in and off. And it's actually, when you put pressure on two different points and press down, I think they're a lot easier to get off than just pressing on this clip. But that's just my opinion. So I am probably going to take the Dremel tool and shave these down even with the rest of the rim. And then we're actually going to paint these coins. So let's go ahead and get these coins taken care of and see what they look like after. All right, guys, so just took the Dremel tool to these coins to shave down the raised little pegs. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife to smooth them out just a little bit. There's a little bit of inconsistency on some of them. Some of them are still a tad bit too high. Some have a tiny little dip that I'd like to even out. But yeah, I think this is going to turn out well. So what have we done so far? We've taken our clip off so we can actually hold it. We've addressed the coins not working properly by adding a little bead of glue from our glue gun on them, which I actually also just went back and cleaned up with an X-Acto knife a little bit. And then we shaved off the raised pegs on the side. Now, I'm going to smooth these out a little bit with an X-Acto knife and clean up the insides a little bit. And then we are going to paint these with some chrome gold spray paint. Then we're going to come back and we'll take a look and see what everything looks like and how it functions to improve our Morpher. Now, I thought about painting the Morpher, which I still might do, but I'm not going to do that in this video. The decals for the most part are correct. The colors aren't that great. But I'm going to leave the coloring of the Morpher alone for the time being. But let's go ahead and get these cleaned up and painted and take one last look at everything and see how we've kind of improved our Playmates Power Morpher so that it functions well, so that it can be played with a little bit better when you can hold it better and manipulate it better, and when the coins look better and, like I said, also function properly. So let's go ahead and paint some coins. All right, everybody, we are done with our customization, at least for today, with our Power Rangers Power Morpher from Playmates Toys. Now, if you guys saw my review, like I said earlier, I was not happy with this Morpher. I don't think it functioned well. I don't think it looked very well. And overall, I was just really unhappy with it. So I thought to myself, what can I do to remedy some of those issues? And what could you possibly do to remedy them as well if you've already purchased the Morpher, or if you plan on going ahead and getting it because you don't have any of the other ones? The first issue that we had with the Morpher was the belt clip. I didn't like that belt clip on the back. It is right here. It took up too much space to be able to properly hold the Morpher, even for kids, especially a little bit older kids. It was just in the way. But fortunately, if you take this back plate off with these 4 screws in the corners, you can actually remove the belt clip with 2 additional screws from the inside. So you don't need to break it, you don't need to modify it, just take it off. Then we had an issue with the coins. Most of the coins did not function properly. They didn't activate the proper sounds when you put them in. So it turns out the issue with that was the pegs just aren't long enough to hold the proper buttons down to activate the sounds. So what we did was we took each coin and we put a little dab of glue, hot glue from our hot glue gun on each peg. It's pretty simple to do, pretty easy, or you could go the super glue route with the gel super glue. Just make sure that dries properly before you put it in the Morpher to just give those pegs some added depth, and they actually worked well after that. The last thing was I didn't like the looks of the coins. I didn't like the raised tabs on the sides. I didn't like that brownish color that they were. So we shaved down the tabs with our Dremel tools and cleaned it up a little bit with an X-Acto knife. And then we painted our coins with a metallic gold paint. Now, some of you might want to opt for a chrome gold to make it look like, more like the original coins. They were really shiny. I chose not to go that route simply because the Morpher itself is kind of plain and dull in color. So I didn't want the coins to stand out too much. So I went with this metallic gold. I think it will look better in the Morpher and it won't be too distracting as far as the color goes. But let's go ahead and try out our Morpher with our freshly painted and modified coins. So let's go ahead and turn this back on. Oh, it looks like I already did turn it on. And let's go ahead and put our coins in. So let's go ahead and start with Billy. Billy was one of those coins that did not work properly. So let's see what happens.
I'm here and ready.
There we go.
Triceratops.
All right, guys, just another issue with these coins. You also have to line up that shape on the back so it presses down over it. But once we finally found the shape, it actually worked. And without the tabs, just so you guys can see, it's really easy to take these coins off without those tabs on there. So you don't need those tabs. But let's go ahead and try Billy again.
I'm here and ready. Triceratops.
All right, so Billy is working every time.
Dragon Sword.
All right, not Dragon Sword. All right, let's go ahead and try Mastodon.
Zach here. I'm ready to rock. Mastodon.
All right, so it works. And once again, I think the coins look good. They're not too flashy, but I think they do look better than that old brown color.
It's Morpher time.
All right, so let's go ahead. It looks like some of these buttons also get stuck under the red when you're taking the coins off. Just another one of those issues. We'll see if we can remedy that maybe later. But let's go ahead and do Tyrannosaurus here.
We need dinosaur power now. Tyrannosaurus.
All right, Tyrannosaurus. Let's go ahead and try Trini.
Trini here. Let's do it. Saber-tooth tiger.
Trini works. And then let's try Kimberly. Kimberly works even if you don't try. Oh, wow, of course I say that, and then I try to put her coin in, and it didn't work.
I'm here, Kimberly. I'm Kimberly on. Let's get these monsters.
Oh.
Pterodactyl.
Wasn't lined up again. This shape on the back, you got to line that up, or it's not going to go on there right.
Kimberly on. Let's get
There
these
we go.
monsters. Pterodactyl.
All right, and Kimberly seems to work every time as long as you find the shape. Once again, guys, I think those coins look really good. I don't think they're too shiny, but I just think that they look better from the original. But now all of our coins work. They activate the proper sounds. We can actually hold our Morpher like you're supposed to. I still don't like the buttons on top, but that's neither here nor there. But with these fixes, I like this a little bit more. I think it would be more fun for a kid to play with, less frustrating when everything works, when you can hold it easily. I think this just makes for a better looking Morpher and a better functioning Morpher with these few changes that we made. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because that really bugged me. I had to do something to fix it. So that is our video for today. I will put down in the description all of the stuff that I used to accomplish this. But I just wanted to share that with you all in case you want to do the same. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And until next time, everybody, I will see you next video.